What's happening today, guys? We are back. Like I said, we had to get something done this weekend. So while we're waiting for welding wire, we're going to try to get the rear corner armor from Next Venture Motorsports installed. So we'll go over a little bit what we have here, what we're going to do to get these installed, and then we'll get started. Tools: 15/64 bit, 3/8 drill bit. I have found a 25/64 drill bit fits those riv nuts a little better. They kind of vary depending on the supplier stuff. The hardware pack, I think in my last video I did was from them. So this is how they send their hardware. Nice and separated instead of just all in one big bag. We are going to need our riv nut squish nut tool, drill, and a 4mm Allen. And then once we drill the holes, we will need to touch up on the body where we drill those holes before we put the riv nuts in. So a couple things. If you're installing these, first thing, start on the driver side. On the driver's side, because you have your fuel door, it is going to locate exactly where this needs to go. There's a little play in where you could get this aligned, so the fuel door locates it. When we go to the other side, we will be able to either do some measuring or just visually line up the passenger side to where the driver's side was. So start on the driver's side. Now, I'll show you here in a second, but pretty much everything else on the Jeep is replaceable. Fenders, doors, top, bumpers. These rear quarters are not. They're part of the body. So if you smash one, you're going to end up probably at the body shop. What ends up happening most of the time is this seam right here splits, and you run into a whole bunch of issues. I have hit the right rear corner twice. Luckily, both times weren't terrible. It dented a little bit, but it did not split the seam. So I should have just put these on a long time ago, but we're going to get them on now. So there's a set of holes that we're going to have to drill out on the body, and then more on the back to get the riv nuts in. We are going to start with up to here. Those get riv nuts, the ones in the rear actually, because you can get in through the rear tail light, will bolt and nut. So those we will have to not drill out any larger. The front ones we will, and you don't want to accidentally drill out the ones that you don't need to drill out larger. Otherwise you're going to have to larger washers, whatever the case may be. So we're going to get some clamps as well. I should have, I guess, those set out here too. Some clamps to get this clamped into place. And then we will start drilling out. It is advised, kind of regardless of how you're going to, unless you're going to just run them bare aluminum, which you can because they are aluminum. Do the install, pull them off, then paint, powder coat. In my case, I'm going to vinyl wrap them. If you had these painted or powder coated first, as soon as you go to drill the holes, it's just going to chip the powder coat back out. So install, pull them off, finish them, then put them back on. I think that's about it. We will put some, I did vinyl wrap behind here first, but still just for protection purposes, we'll put some blue painter's tape on the back side here. There's still some somewhat sharp edges, so just keep that from scratching everything up as we're on and off and on and off and on and off. And then the final spot, we'll do a piece of red vinyl up here for the Freedom Chicken. How I do these when I vinyl wrap over the Freedom Chicken, there's obviously, at least I'm not talented enough to wrap on the inside, and I don't want that silver aluminum showing through. So what I'll do is before I vinyl wrap them, I'll take spray paint, black spray paint, and spray from the back side just to get the edges. And then on the front side, I'll take a oil paint pen and just kind of trace so that the edges are black on the front side, and then we will vinyl wrap them. I'll show you those steps along the way, but I'll get this prepped, ready to start installing, and we'll be back in just a minute. All right, so we got the back kind of taped off here. Got some clamps, so we're going to get this driver's side one set up here and clamped on. So like I said before, this one will get located by the fill tank, like so. So that'll be the first one we clamp on, because that one can't move too much. Now this one you'll want to step back a little bit and make sure that it follows the body line before you clamp this front one. All right, so we'll finish getting this clamped on, double check everything, and we'll be back, start drilling these holes out. All right, so we got this set up here, leveled. I thought it looked pretty good OCD. I just took my little, set it there, set it on, and we are dead on. So I taped off for reference, and once I get these drilled out and the riv nuts put in, I'll do a picture still so you can see exactly which ones we're going to focus on first that get riv nuts. So I taped off the ones that will not get riv nuts so we don't accidentally drill those. So we'll get drilling. And we got the 3 up front here. All right, so that is all of them. So now we are going to unclamp. And we have some scary holes. All right, so now we got to drill these all out. We'll get these blown out, touch up, so we don't have rust issues up here in the lovely Minnesota climate. So I did check these. I'm going to check these riv nuts quick and determine if I want 3/8 or whatever size. So I'll be back in just a second. 25/64. Usually how I test that, I just grabbed a scrap piece of thin, either aluminum or steel, and drill a hole and all right, we'll get the rest of these drilled out and cleaned up. We'll be back. All right, so we came through, got everything drilled out, and then took a deburr, cleaned everything up, came through with some clear enamel, and now we are going to start getting the riv nuts put in. Now with riv nuts, there's a couple things you want to make sure you thread them all the way on to the riv nut gun, and two, that you don't over squeeze them. They are adjustable, because you can damage the threads inside if you squeeze too hard on them. And then you hope that you can get a tap into them to clean said threads up, or you're going to be in trouble. So tight, but not over tight. And again, you can, as long as your test subject that you use to find your drill bit is the same size as what you're putting these into, you can do a test on that to see how much squish you're getting. And if you've done enough of them, you can kind of get a feel for what's enough, what's too much. All right, so we got them all put in here. I went through and just threaded to test them all. So set that there for a second. Those are the ones that you need to have the riv nuts in. This sheet metal, again, is really thin. So between drilling and everything, make sure once you put the riv nut in, it's a lot easier with the riv nut gun still on it. Make sure it's flush and in a line and everything with the body, so that when you go to put everything on, you don't have all sorts of a line. But here's the old rear fender. I don't know if it's showing up very well, but that's where I hit it on two different rocks, and it, like I said, even just that did enough that it deformed that quarter panel. So I'll get you set back up over to the side. I'll get the quarter panel set up here. All right, so we got all these in. So I reclamped the corner. They underbend these on purpose, especially this top one, because you don't want it to kink. So we're going to drill these three. We'll bolt them in, and then we'll move our clamps back and slowly start forming this around the backside. Alright, so we'll grab our hardware and wrench and get those put in. Alright, so we got those three in. So now we are going to clamp here. And here we'll do these three. We can actually do the 4 down here and this one, and then we'll deal with that one last. So get these. Get out of your way here. Now, when I do the final install on these, I am going to put washers behind or in between for the reason of I'm vinyl wrapping it. And if you try to tighten these bolts up on the vinyl, it wants to twist the vinyl, but it seems like if you put a washer in between, then it doesn't. We will learn together. So I am just running these in. And then grab our washers and nuts. Get all these. Go in here. And then I'll get these tightened down and I'll bring you back for the last one. All right, so we have this last one clamped. Part of what I was worried about, obviously the Genrite cage in here, and there is a metal bracket that goes in. The bottom two, I didn't have any issue with. It looks like I might have some with this piece. So we are going to drill it, see where we're at. So we'll see if we have enough clearance to get everything in back here and clear that bracket. All right. Yes, it works and clears. Just had to do some tape work to get it up in there. So we are fully installed. Like I said, I'm going to vinyl wrap, so I have to pull all this back off, which you would need to anyway, because you need to touch up these spots that you just drilled through. So I'm going to get this pulled off. I'll do the other side. Other side, like I said, is the same thing. It's just you don't have this to locate. So you'll want to compare this side on how you're putting in that side. We'll be back after a little bit. All right, so we're ready to prep this for vinyl. So this is how I've been doing this, is I will take the oil paint pen and trace out the Freedom chickens so that it's black underneath there, just in case it peels or anything, or as I'm cutting it out, that it's black underneath. And then we will flip it over and we will paint with just like a rattle can the back side so that we can paint the inside edges, as those obviously won't be vinyl wrapped, and we don't want silver showing through. Like so. All right, I'll grab the spray paint and be back in a second. All right, so now I'm just going to try to hit all the different angles to get everything covered there. And then I'm not trying to paint the backside black, so just so that when you see it from this side, there's no silver shining through. It look pretty good. There's a couple little spots. And then we'll just let that dry. And once that's dry, we'll come back, final the other side. We'll bring you back for that part. All right, we're gonna go over the hardest part for my install on this, is to get the red Freedom Chicken. So before I took the sides off, I took a tracing marker and marked off where old Freedom Chicken's gonna be. And then we're just gonna put a piece of red vinyl there. Heat gun. Voila. Now I put the panel back on. Red Freedom Chicken. All right, I'm gonna let those pieces that I just painted dry up overnight. And then we'll vinyl wrap them tomorrow and get them put on after work. We'll see you in the morning, or in the afternoon, I mean. All right, guys, we got that piece wrapped. I don't have it bolted on yet, so I'm waiting for those to get some black washers to put on there. But it turned out really well. There you can see the red Freedom Chicken is all good to go under there. So yeah, so as soon as those washers come in, we'll get those put on, and this project will be completed. Thanks for watching. Please click like, subscribe, and share, and we'll catch you on the next one.